Hey everyone, Warwick's here. So what I'm going to do today is actually go over a Mythic 10 run of Halls of Atonement that I did, I think it was last week, last set of affixes. Just kind of go over the route that we did and just wanted to make an overview video for those that are looking to get into plus 10 keys, try to push into getting the prideful buffs. And for those of you that are trying to get plus 10s in all your gear slots so you can get that Valor to 213 achievement, this video is going to be for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk through this dungeon as we go through. So I'll be starting, stopping, and pausing. If you want a full run, I did another one that's up on the channel. Go check it out over on the dungeon run side of things. So we're going to go ahead and get into this. As you can see, I'm running with the Officer Core of barely above average. I think Vulgars is running Elemental for this, I believe, because it's... No, this is Bursting Volcanics. I think he's still Enhancement. So as you can see, we come in and very standard pull. A lot of groups, newer groups will do this. They pull these two Dark Blades. The reason for that is that I want the Huntsman pack to patrol. Now you can see with Bursting, we've got that thing going. So go from there. So I want that patrol to move, and I come over and I'm going to grab these two guys here. And we have a Venthyr in our group, so we're going to probably grab this Loyal Stoneborn along with this Groundskeeper. So we've got these Obliterator Dark Blades. So you can see that Nestarius grabs the Loyal Stoneborn because he was, at the time, he was Venthyr. He's now Night Fae. He recently switched. But just pull this is pretty standard stuff here. In higher keys and with groups that are much more comfortable with it, you'll see them pull almost everything up to this shard, and they'll pull right here and probably below Bloodlust. But with Bursting, you don't want to get too many stacks up, especially on a Shaman that is okay but not great at healing it. So we're just trying to help out our Pug healer here, get through everything to make sure that there's no issues for them. This Houndmaster, you want to make sure that you do a stun of some sort on the Loyal Beast cast, otherwise it makes these two Gargans grow very, very tall. You'll also notice I'm Necrolord in this. I'm now Kyrian because I also have made the decision to switch. So this is before 9.0.5. And then we grab just these Obliterator packs because our group, one of our weaknesses is that we are sometimes slow on kicks. So we don't do a good job of stopping everything as much as humanly possible. It's something that we're working on. So we just kill these Obliterators straight into this. And you notice with Prideful, we're hitting our count. We're going to get up to around 12.5% on this. And this will bring us to almost 14. And then we're going to get this Collector and the Shard, which are going to be big count for us. They're going to put us up to around 19%, which was 100% planned by me. So with this pack, actually, most people think you need to kill the Shard, but in reality, you want to kill the Collector first because of this ability here. This Collect Sins. Let's go back just a little bit. Right here. So this collects sins. If you don't kick it and interrupt it, then what he'll do is he'll basically call in a bunch of ads, which just makes this pull a lot harder. So you just want to make sure that you're kicking that as much as humanly possible. Just like with the rest of them, you want to kick things like Curse of Obliteration and things like that. So after that, this shard is very, very simple. You'll see that what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly pull him over towards the entrance as he gets a little bit lower. At least I think I do in this one. It might have been in a different run that I started doing that. Okay, so I don't do it here. I started doing it afterwards. You want to try to pull. You want to try to pull when you only have this guy left. Try to pull him here. It seems silly, but what it does is it slows down your travel time, saving you a few seconds during the run. So here I should have just been mounting up because I was out of combat. Instead, I used all my mobility tools, which was stupid. And then here, I'm going to go get this Houndmaster because this is going to spark Prideful for us, which is exactly what I want. So we're going to kill this Master. You can see it has uninterruptible cast with Shoot and Rapid Fire. But this right here, this Loyal Beast, you can see I use Leg Sweep to kick it. This is also on the old Afnar affixes. You can see the Manifestation of Pride. So the Manifestation of Pride actually spawns randomly on players, so wherever they're positioned. So if you're a marksmanship hunter and you're standing way the F out here, if you are getting close to Pride, one thing that you should be doing as a ranged player to help is try to stack up a little bit closer to where your tank is at. That way, when Pride spawns, it's less time for them to spend having to taunt or run over to try to do things. So what you want to do is just try to stack up a little bit to make sure that that this manifestation spawns pretty close. Here, I think it spawned on our Shaman healer, I believe. Let me go. So we still have 2 Gargans, but the number one thing you want to do when Manifestation of Pride is up is you always want to kill the Manifestation of Pride. And you can see here I've got these 4 little arrows that come out. This is very important to deal with and important to call. If you are targeted by this, you want to try to position yourself so that you don't hit any of your other team members. If you do, you will stun them. So you can see they go out in random directions. I did not hit anyone here with it, which is good. And then the next one you can see here, Vulgris has it, and you can see the way the arrows are going. No one gets hit with it, but you can see the stacking debuff that the Manifestation of Pride gets. So what does Manifestation of Pride give you? Movement speed, extra damage, infinite mana for your healer. So on this, you generally can try to pull a little bit bigger. As you can see, we end up pulling everything right here. So we have a lot of interrupts to kick. You can see that there's that Curse of Obliteration that's on Nestarius. So he ends up being able to deal with that. Collect Sins, gets interrupted by Newall. I'm just focusing on staying alive at this point, so I'm not really kicking the way that I should. You can see we get Bursting. But we handle this pull really well. Having Prideful helps out quite a bit. Prideful allows you to do things that you probably couldn't do normally. It makes certain, especially if you can time it to where you get it right before a boss fight. Now, Halls of Atonement is a dungeon where you do like probably 70 or 80% of the trash beforehand. So I'm going to pause it here, rewind a little bit. So what a lot of groups will do is they will actually jump down off this and into this group where this Houndmaster's at, along with this Groundskeepers. I actually stopped doing that and started going to the right, as you saw just a second ago, for a couple of reasons. On certain affixes, Volcanic, Quaking, Spiteful, Storming, Sanguine, a lot of affixes that cause you to have to be mobile, move around in a certain area. Jumping down here actually limits what you can do mobility-wise. Now, on certain affixes like Explosive and like Bolstering and stuff like that, it's not going to be that big of a deal. You can probably safely jump down here. But when it comes to these other these other affixes, and like I said, we have Volcanic here, jumping down here is just really, really bad. The other thing that always ends up happening, at least in my group, is this turns in from trying to just kill a Huntsmaster pack to killing a Huntsmaster pack, these 4 Groundkeepers, and then a Huntsmaster patrol over here. So it turns into a really, really big pool that taxes us unnecessarily. So what I've done is, after we kill this shard, let me skip forward just a couple seconds here. You can see we come to the right here and take out this Obliterator and this Dark Blade. So what happens is that we go ahead and kill these guys, and then we come down and actually get this Houndmaster pack. But as you can see, instead of tanking on this little side walkway, we have all this room over here to tank up with. So this actually makes these pulls a lot simpler. We have this path as well. So there's just a lot that goes on here. So the goal is to kill this Houndmaster pack right here, and then also this Obliterator and Darkblade, so that we spawn our 40% pride that we can then take over to the shard that you can see in the upper corner here, that we're able to use on anything else. So we're just going to kind of go through this pull. You can see we burn the Houndmaster because it's the most dangerous mob, and in a situation where it's not like Bolstering or Raging, it's very easy to go ahead and do this. So we go ahead and burn these Gargans down, get that taken care of. I've got a big bleed on me. This is where Carrion File is going to be very helpful to me in the future. I just got to remember to use it. And then we're going to go ahead and grab this, I believe it's this Darkblade Obliterator group, and try to avoid grabbing the Huntsmaster, which we do. I'm just going to be skipping forward in this to try and get through some things. So you'll be able to see that we get through this pull no issues, and our pride comes up. So again, you want to focus everything on the pride. We have this one Toiling Groundskeeper here. Go from there. I'm going to pause it, rewind just a little bit. So you can see here, when this went out, Newall got hit by it and you get stunned for like 2 seconds. So it can be really, really bad if it hits the tank and healer, but even equally bad as DPS, because that's precious DPS time lost that, you know, you can spurn Bending's Manifestation of Pride. As you can see, it gets a stacking damage buff. We get it to 12 that time. All right, so I go ahead and grab this Houndmaster pull, and then we burn it. So we're just going to skip forward here. You can see we get through it, no issues. And then we go grab all 4 of these guys because we have Pride, we have a Stoneborn. Everything about this pull should be fairly straightforward to go through. And you can see just how fast everything is dying between having the Stoneborn, between having Pride, and the strong AoE that this group has with a Demon Hunter and an Enhancement Shaman, both of which have very strong AoE. The Shadow Priest, not so much. You can see he's even below me right now on the meters, but we can go there. But things do get dicey. I almost die there, but we pull through, no issues, and we get the Shard of Halkias. Now, one thing about this Thrashcast, if you're a ranged player, you can actually outrange this. So if you're like with the path that we had, if you're like a marksman hunter, again, because they have ridiculously long distances, you can come stand way out here and it's perfectly fine. And you will not get hit by this. So it saves your healer a little bit. So if you need to save your healer some mana, if you're ranged, try to stand at your max range so that you go through on this. Alright, so next we pull this big group in the middle just to clear it out and give us as much room on Halkias as possible. So again, the Houndmaster is the big one, but you want to watch this Obliterator with his Wicked Bolt cast. You can see we let that one through and it really hammers me. So we hit a couple of stuns to stop some cast there. This is something that we should be doing a little bit better about. And as you can see, I mismanaged my brews pretty badly, which puts a little bit of extra stress on our poor Shaman healer, who was fantastic at this. A Ring of Peace to kind of save myself and heal myself up as I got Ring of Peace up. And then I just try to do my best to tank these Gargans as I still have 8 seconds on a very big Celestial Brew Shield. But we get through this pack, no issues, and we spawn our 60% Manifestation of Pride. So we've gotten 3 out of the 5 Prides that you're going to get in this dungeon. So I'm just going to skip forward a little bit because you can see it's all pretty much the same. So Newall, I think, or Nestarius goes off to get the Stoneborn. I go in to pull Halkias. We've got Pride, we've got a Stoneborn, and we're about to pop Heroism here in a little bit. There it is. And you're going to see just how fast this boss melts. Like, you can't see it in the chat box because I have my camera covering it. But I think we finished this boss off in something like 58 seconds. So it was under a minute. Like, we just murdered this guy. As you can see, he's already below 50%. You can see 9.4k from Nestarius, who says Demon Hunters need single target buffs. Everybody. Newall at 5.6. Vulgris at 5.3. Like, they're just burning. And of course, Nestarius has got inflated numbers because he had the Stoneborn, but I mean, still, that's this damage right here. You're getting what, 18k out of that, and then our healer contributed 2k. Now is it another 2k? Newall dies right at the very end, which is unfortunate, so we have to stop to res him. Now a lot of people will go left on this. We actually go right because we've realized that this actually opens up a lot more space for us. So you can see we leave this pack to go because I don't want it. So we take this Obliterator Dark Blade combo, take them up the stairs, and this moves us into this. So we get these ankle biters. You can see just how much space we have to roam around here. Sorry about that. So we destroy these ankle biters. We're going to get this Eviscerator and the Reaver. So you can see we pull them. You want to make sure that you kick this turn to stone cast. So I always take that. And then if there's another one that comes up within the kick time, we do that. So you can see we get that pretty good. The Eviscerator goes down first, and then we get the Reaver afterwards because the Eviscerator is actually the more dangerous mob with this bleed that he does here. And then we pull this Reaver along with these ankle biters to make sure that we get this. And I try to line of sight them with using the tree just to make sure they all get onto me. And then we go. But Vulgris somehow dies right off the start. Not quite sure how that happened. He, I think, uses his reincarnation to get back up, get back into the fight. I think he probably pulled aggro on a couple things right off the start that I hadn't gotten good aggro on yet because target caps. And then we go from there. And then what we do here is we're at 74%. We pulled this group here in the middle with the 2 Eviscerators and the Reaver. So this is actually kind of a dangerous pull, especially with these walking stone flares. I try to paralyze the one, but I think between dots and chain lightning, as you see, our shaman almost goes down here. Gets that nasty bleed on her. But I think with between dots, chain lightning, and immolation aura and stuff like that, like I couldn't CC it as effectively as I wanted to. So these Eviscerators are going to go down last in this case. You can see I touch of death that one just to get it out of there because I know our healer can handle 2 stacks of bursting, which is a much easier affix than what it was in BFA. So we burn the Eviscerator. See, I had to tweak my stuff because for some reason I was showing damage done. So you can see these slashers we're going to let go. And then what I'm going to do actually is we're going to wait because these guys turn to stone and you can actually run by them. But what I realize as we're running up is that we're at 79.85% count. I pull one of these slashers, just pull them up the stairs. And so I'll grab this one on the left that's not stone and kind of line of sight him here around the corner, get him up, stop. This is going to spawn the 80% pride. So keeping an eye on your trash count is going to be very, very important. So we're going to get an 80% pride going into Echelon, which is one of the more difficult bosses in this dungeon. So we're just going to get through him. You see the pride spawns. As you can see there, that we were all stacked up, and I think we got lucky and it spawned on me. So Newell's got the thing. As you can see, he runs out. Notice the arrows. They don't always go straight out from your character. Sometimes they're diagonal. So here you can see they're straight out on this character, so nobody moves, and we're all okay. Easy, easy. And then I think the next one that we get is back on Newell, who stands out there. Easy, easy. Kill the manifestation of pride. We get the pride buff, and immediately you can see I'm going to get Echelon. So Echelon on a Mythic Plus boss is both easy and difficult. Easy for DPS because you can pump your numbers, but difficult for tanks in particular and sometimes for healers because you can see they leave the old Shriekwing pools of blood. We have this going on, and then we also have the Stone Fiend. Now in coordinated groups, your healer basically stands on top of your tank if you can. So like a Holy Paladin is actually really good because they're standing that close anyways. Same with Mistweaver Monks. But like Shaman, you can see I don't get out of this circle, so I'm gonna take some damage there. And I immediately hit... I didn't immediately hit Expel Harm, but the Shaman immediately got a heal off on me. But what you want to do is basically when he does that leap, you want to get him inside, get these things inside, because he'll shatter the Stoneborn and make him so that you don't have like consistent adds. But again, with Prideful, you can see this boss is just melting. So we're going to go ahead and just let this boss fight finish out. You can see Nestarius kind of gets in a little bit there. We're so close to killing this boss that I don't really care that the adds come back up. So we were all just like focus boss, focus boss. And you can see that all despawns immediately. And then we get into these pulls. These pulls are tricky because you have 2 Houndmasters, which is very, very difficult to do. So you want to go ahead and try to pull these out. So you can see we get Imprison on one, we got Hex on the other. So we have just the Gargans, which is still pretty nasty. You can see I got really low there right where I skipped. Loyal Beast was being cast. We got that stunned. And we just finish these out, and then we go kill the other Houndmaster. Easy, easy, easy. This pull here, a lot of groups will pull them into this room. This is a bad idea. This room is very limited. If you're going to pull them back because maybe you don't have a Venthyr, you want to go back into the room where the big pack was at, the room that we just came from. If you have a Venthyr, pull them all to one side and grab a Stoneborn. So you can see here we're quickly discussing which side of the room we're going to go in. I think I'm an idiot and don't follow that. No, yeah, I do. That's right. I do it on this one. So we go to the right side, and I think Nestarius is going to grab this Stoneborn, but we actually get 2 of them here. So Nestarius grabs this one back here. And as you can see, I'm hitting all my panic buttons. I don't... see, I hit Fortifying Brew. I've got everything going here because you can't have more than one Stoneborn going at a time. So if you're 2 Venthyr, you only have 1 going. So this Stoneborn is just kind of hanging out, and we're just either going to kill it or we're going to work on it until we can get it through. So this becomes a very bad pull that could have been even worse. But I think we end up, we just end up killing that Stoneborn, and then we come in here and kill Elise, who's one of the easiest bosses in this dungeon. So you can see these 4, here, Animate Containers. This one's behind the tracker. Basically, he's going to spawn a Phantasmal Ghost. Whoever it fixates on, you just run to this container. So this boss does have a little bit of a timer, because once you run out of these 4, that's it. That's all you get. They only are usable once. But we have the DPS here that this boss is going to be pretty easy, even without Pride, even without Heroism. So as you can see, I tank on top of this thing, and we want to try to kick these volleys of power as much as humanly possible. So you can see this bolt of power. I'm calling kicks, so like Nestarius take next, Newell take next, I'll get next, and then Volgriz. And this pug here, Jennifer, she's not on, I'm assuming it's a she's not on Discord with us, so she's just kind of doing what most pug healers do, or pug shaman healers do, which is interrupt on cooldown. But you can see this boss is going to melt. It's melting pretty well. So just going to skip forward because this boss, you can see, it's very rinse and repeat. Interrupt everything on, you see the parishioner gets moved over there, taken in by the tank there, or by the healer, and then you just kill this boss as fast as humanly possible and go from there. So it's very straightforward. It's the easiest boss in here. Now this room, there's a couple of ways that you can approach it. All these tormented souls, you can kill them. Once they die, they will spawn manifestations of sin, and this guy up on the dais will come down here. Basically, there's two ways to handle this. You kill all the tormented souls as fast as possible, or you go up here and you try to zerg this guy. You have 28 seconds from the time you engage him before he will, after he casts his first heal, to the time that you do that. I think here we tried the zerg strat and it doesn't work out. Let's skip this run here. So yeah, you can see we're just kind of tanking him up here, and we try to zerg him. We could burn hero. We probably should have going forward. So I get this manifestation envy off, get hit by a volcanic. It's just kind of a little bit of a shit show here. I think we end up spending much longer in here than what we should. So as you can see, we're getting him down. We've got him pretty good here, but Disperse Sin is just there. Dark Communion is the ability where he heals, and he got down to 23%. If we had burned Heroism, or if we had cooldowns that we'd used on this guy, we were going to be able to go ahead and do it. So instead, we have to take the long way. We try to kill all the tormented souls, try to kill all the sins. It just takes us a lot longer, and it probably cost us our 2 chests here. So as you can see, he gets the final communion, and then we're going to end up burning him. And you can see he's 7% trash, so he's going to spawn us our 100% pride. As you can see, we are still working on it. Like, we spend like, what, 3 or 4 minutes in this room. It definitely cost us our 2 chests. We would have had it here. So finally, we get the last pride, easy enough, and we get to, you can see I pulled him up to this dais, so that way we can avoid having to do this. And then we fight the Lord Chamberlain. Lord Chamberlain is a very straightforward fight. We burn hero on this because we have it. Between pride and hero, again, he's going to melt, especially on a fortified week. But basically, he throws these statues around, so you kind of need to be paying attention to that. He's going to, Stigma of Pride is kind of a nothing debuff on this character. It makes things a little bit harder. But then he calls all of these in, and then he's going to shoot them out. So you kind of want to try to position between them. And then each person wants to take an anima container. This is kind of like the Boston Temple, where you soak everything, and then you get a debuff on you, but you avoid him getting like really, really powerful. As you can see, we soak it really well. Only Vulgus doesn't soak here. But you can see he immediately calls them back in because we hit I think it's a health threshold, and then go from there. But you can see between pride, like we've just lost pride buff here, and he's down to 10%. So like we get 90% of this under the effects of pride, which just makes things really, really strong for us. You can see it reflected in the damage numbers. You know, 5-9, 5-7, 3-6. Pretty good numbers there. And then Lord Chamberlain dies, and that's the video. So that's the Halls of Atonement video, guys. That's kind of the route that we take on this. That's the one I'm going to suggest to you, especially if you're getting into plus 10 prides. I may do this with other dungeons if you're interested. If you are interested in that, please leave a comment below. Let me know if you want to see some other routing that we do in our dungeons, even the poor ones, and I can kind of explain what we could do better. So that is the Halls of Atonement overview, you guys. If you have any questions, please put them down in the comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing and gives me the support that I need. So until the next video, I hope you all stay safe. Please go in and get your vaccines as soon as you're eligible, and I will see you all next time.